Okay, so here we are, about to start installing the ROLEF screens for both the side and the rear of my Aktiv. First thing was trying to remove the installed Hymer parts. So that was a little bit tricky. As you can see, it's off now. I have the bottom removed, I have the screen removed. I think the single biggest thing that you needed to pay attention to was on the inside, having to remove the little caps. As you can see, I haven't put them back yet because I need to install the new screen, but in order to remove the old screen, I have to remove the caps, get the screws out, drop the panel, and then there are two screws that are right inside here. Once you remove those, that's relatively easy, but you have to get the panel off. And then the last thing I haven't done yet is remove this side flange that comes from Hymer for their screen, so that has to be removed. Okay, on the back, removing the screens couldn't be any easier. There's really just 6 screws, 3 on each side. You remove those, the whole thing comes out in one piece, and that's it. So that's the removal of the old screens, and then we'll get started on installing the new screens, and we'll do from the rear first. Okay, so here we go. First step is going to be installing Velcro strips along the top here. There's one spot where it all faces out, but there's one spot where it faces the other direction, and the screens have the reverse Velcro there just to make life easier. So here we go. I had a bit of a false start. The material that I received with my screens had sets of both hooks and loops, and I don't know why they gave me spare loops. Maybe I'll find out later, but for now there's really no need for loops because all the loops, as far as I can tell, are on the screen. And so I had made a mistake and installed some loops across the top of the opening for the door, and really I think all we need is hooks. So remove those, and here we go again. Take 2. So we'll get this roughly of the right shape. One thing I did learn when trying to do the first time is a spatula seems to be pretty useful here. So I'm going to start by, maybe I'll start on this side just because it's a little easier to get things lined up. And when I say easier, I don't really mean it because it sticks to everything. There's one. And now we need to do the other side. Okay, and I don't know if there's a better way to do this, but I've decided that starting from this side, just because my plastic molding is actually quite loose, and so it's easier to get started over here. Okay, so that's the top. Now we need to do the sides. And all the little bits, I think you want to just hold on to them as you go along because there's going to be small bits you need anyway. So don't get rid of anything. And just like I was saying, you're gonna get to use a lot of the little extra bits. So I'm just gonna, not that it matters probably, but we're just gonna add that there. Okay, here we go. So start at the top, work my way down, trying to get it right flush, a little bit tucked in underneath the door gasket there. So in my case, I have the cable for my Wii Boost. That's on my back ladder. So I need to make sure to tuck my Velcro underneath that and not get it stuck. Okay, so now that all the Velcro is in place, the next step is to actually sort of dry mount the screen in place, and then later it gets screwed in, but for now it's all Velcro. So I'm going to start with the centerpiece here. Well, that seems to have worked reasonably well. Of course, there's one small matter of getting it all screwed into final position. But there we go. So, I thought I had sort of done everything right. If you remember at the beginning, I mentioned I had a little bit of a snafu with which side was hooks and which side was loops, and I couldn't figure out why I had a few strips that were hooks instead of loops and vice versa. Well, now I know why. So at the bottom plate, I put in hooks onto my van, but the truth is the bottom is the only place where the screen actually has hooks, and so I needed loops. So I'm going to have to remove this, which is an incredible waste of this Velcro, and I'm not sure if I will be able to reuse it or not, but I'm going to do that and come back. Okay, so I've removed the hooks and put in the loops here, so that's good now. Clearly there's something that I don't understand that I'm sure I'll discover when I'm out camping, and we'll figure it out. The folks that make these at ROLEF are incredibly detail oriented from what I can tell, and so there must be a reason why they chose to reverse loops and hooks on the bottom versus everything else, because it's not an accident. They also did the same thing in this bottom corner here. So I'm glad I hadn't put in the Velcro other half on the bottom. I was waiting to measure it and see how it all fit, but luckily I hadn't done it, and so now I get to put the right piece. So on the vertical, it's actually loops that are on the van, and it's actually hooks that are on the van and loops that are on the screen, but the bottom piece is reversed. The bottom piece is furry, fuzzy stuff on the van, and then hooks on the screen. So I'm going to put that one there. I don't really know where they belong, so that might be the wrong spot. That will be a matter of learning over time. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side, which is easy enough. So I'm going to put that like that. And now, when we drop this and zip it all down, everything is nice and snug. Okay, so that's the rear. So we're about to start the side door. This seems to be a little bit more complicated, and without instructions it's really not that obvious. We couldn't quite figure out if we needed to be on this side or on the back of the backsplash. It seems like the back of the backsplash is the right place to be. Spoke to someone else who has this, and that's the way theirs is, but there's just no easy way to get in there. So first thing's going to be hopefully getting these silly cables out of the way, which is just TV cable, which I'm not sure why I even have these. Certainly don't know why I have an extra 4 feet of them inside there, but here we go. I'm going to have to do this, I think, in small bits, because I'm not sure how to get a big strip in there. So I'm going to do that, and we'll see if this works. Okay, there's that. I would say you need to be incredibly careful not to slice your hands on this metal. The Velcro is never perfect, but I don't think that really matters in this case. And I'm going to just put one little bit of extra Velcro at the bottom there. I don't think it really matters, as I said, but now I need to figure out where the rest of it goes, but for now I'm going to put Velcro across the top and along the other side, because that'll let me dry fit a little bit better. I feel like I'm running out of the Velcro provided to me, so we'll hopefully have enough. Okay. So for those that were following along, you might recall that I screwed up the Velcro bits at the bottom of the back door. I just remembered I had that still lying around, so instead of cutting more for the side door here, I'm repurposing this. I don't know if it's going to be quite the right length. And of course there's dog hair on it, because why wouldn't there be? That seems to be pretty good. I'm going to put one more little bit down there. Okay, there's that. Now the next part, which I'm not exactly sure how this is going to work, or if you can see what I'm doing, I need to get Velcro up in here. I'm going to put it all the way to there. So I'm guessing that removing the panel completely is the right way to do this, but I'm a little reluctant to have it dangling, and I don't feel like removing all of the electrical. So for now, I'm hoping this method works, and we will have to see if for some reason it does not, what we do. Okay, so that feels good. We're going to dry fit it and see what happens, so I'll be right back. Okay, so step one I think is going to be just doing this vertical, just because it's probably the easiest way to get some connection. I suspect I just knocked the camera around and you guys are all getting a bit dizzy, but we'll see how this goes. Once again, dealing with these silly television cables, which I don't really understand why we even have on this side of the van. Not like anyone's going to use them. Okay, so that seems like a pretty good dry fit. Okay, well, that's in place. And as I did that, I realized that there's actually a little bit more Velcro here that I need to put down there. So I'm going to get to that, and then I think we might be ready to start screwing things in. Okay, getting pretty close. A few little things to try and get it to fit in just right. So I want to make sure that the Velcro is in place and that the screen tucks in underneath a little bit. I think that's about it. I'm gonna have to adjust the top a little, and then I think we're good. Okay, so here we are. I've got everything installed, everything screwed in. So let's just do a quick walk around and see where we're at. Things to note. There's probably a right way to do it, and then there's the way I did it. I think these are supposed to be flat on the ground here, but I couldn't screw into this material, so I put them into the side there. Other than that, there's really nothing to it. It's actually quite straightforward getting all the screws in. What I did is I chose to use the big screws that they gave me because I thought this Velcro will get pulled on quite a bit. So I put those in there. Those went in very easily. And then along the sides, I don't know if you can see, but I just put sort of every 6 inches, and I used the smaller screws that I was given. Again, I don't know if everyone's going to get big screws and small screws. I don't know if that's just what they had when they gave mine to the person that was bringing it to me from Quartzsite. But that's what we got in the back. So that's great. So now let's walk around to the side. So on the side, things worked out pretty well. Again, didn't know if I should be using big screws, small screws. So I used all the big screws in 6-inch sort of spacing, and then I had a bunch of small screws left, and I thought, well, you know what? This is the place that's going to get used the most, so I just went and reinforced in between with small screws. Everything worked out really well. Let me show on the inside of the van here. So the only damage, quote unquote, is that, I don't know if you can see up here, this little cap I had to drill to be able to get out. So now I have a needle size hole in the cap. Otherwise, it's pretty good. So let me roll it down here for you. I think the material is going to have to stretch a little bit. It eventually just sort of comes together, but I think the screen's a little bit snug still. But that comes nicely together once I just touch it there. And there you go. So, things that I'm sort of happy about, things I'm not so happy about. It comes pretty much all the way to the bottom. Once I put in a little metal step lip there, I think it'll be nicely sealed. The one place that was a little bit problematic, and I couldn't get it any better, is I have a bit of extra material here, and that's just because I had no way of getting my fingers in between the back of the cabinet and the wall of the van, and so I had to put my Velcro a little bit further out probably than I wanted to, and as a result I have a little bit extra material here. In the big scheme of things, I feel like that's just not something that's going to bother me much. I just tuck it in. But that's kind of it. So there's the van on the side, and walking around the van, there it is on the back, and that's it.